Yeah, hello, my name is Gav. I just completed the WHYY Youth Employment Internship Program, and let's talk about it. Let's start like this. First week. First day, right off the bat, we got to know each other. We did this, we did that. We got our camera, we got our equipment, we got our tripod, we got our microphones, we got everything. It was a very nice day. It's a camera. I can't believe it's a camera. I was very excited. I was ecstatic. Every day I caught the train at whatever AM, and then I got to Jefferson Station, and then I met up with Emily, and we walked to WHYY, and since I can't film on federal buildings, which apparently surround WHYY, I'll show you this Google Maps tour of it. I think this was like the second day or the third day we started working on our first project. Already, we got with some groups. My group came up with the video of Philly hot takes. It was okay. We also found out our groups for Project 2. For Project 2 was going to be us meeting with our business partners and working on creating something with them. I got put in the grants team. I got to work with my team members, Maisie and Nanda, on social media advertisement project for this new children's show that WHYY is making. And that was all fun and good. One important thing I should mention, there was like a party on like National Ice Cream Day or something like that. And it was in the parking lot. Let me tell you about that party. Let me tell you about that party. For Project 3, we had to make a mini documentary about the youth internship program so we can convince funders to fund the youth internship program. Did you know that WHYY stands for what? What? We also did a lot of fun professional developments. We learned a lot about the media industry and what jobs there are, what to do, budgeting, saving, taking care of yourself, knowing your role, working as a freelancer, things like that. It was very helpful. I should also mention I had a fun time. Didn't I mention I had a fun time? Let me show you some of the fun times I had with some of my friends. Did you know that WHYY stands for?
WHYY. We really, I don't know, what do we do? Can we come back to this one?
Okay, maybe that was a little uncalled for, but I had to show it somewhere. Anyway, thanks for watching my video diary. It's all well and good. Thanks. Okay, bye. WHYY stands for Wider Horizons for You and Yours, which perfectly encapsulates our mission. Opening up a horizon to students with interests in media and giving them opportunities to learn about doing real professional work in the local Philadelphia area, and to add on, giving them paid work experience as well. Now, in my 7-week experience, there's only so much I could tell you about the amazing opportunities that I've had. So I'm gonna let you have it straight from the horse's mouth. Let me pass it over to my friend Maisie.
Thanks, Gav. One of the most amazing things about this program is that every student is given professional-grade equipment on the very first day, including microphones, tripods, and cameras. We use the equipment throughout the summer, and upon completing the program, we get to keep it all. This resource is made possible by our many generous funders and donors, and is only one example of all the amazing opportunities that this program provides for students. To explore more about this program, we spoke with fellow interns about their experiences, so you can hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
To begin, I always been in media labs since 8th grade, so I always had an interest for media, kind of recording. I also had an interest for visual arts, and I kind of want to combine the two. And I really wanted to join to just grow on my experience and kind of see if this is a path I want to go down. And what keeps me coming back is just the community, and also seeing how my skills have grown and trying to better them each year.
This program is something beyond what I'd expect to learn in school in a media program, which is really beneficial to someone like me who wants to go into journalism in the future. It's something like before college that I can get to really reaffirm that this is a passion of mine and this is something that I really want to do. And I feel like WHYY has really given me the chance to explore different things, especially with education. It's a really good learning experience, really good to learn how to be professional and just be in the city, which is fun if you live far away like me.
Hey, I'm Nanda, and I'm also part of the grants team. Today, we're doing an interview with one of our mentors, Brianna, and we'd like to show you our setup. Every interview has 3 main aspects. There is the camera, mounted on a tripod, the light source, which is a key light mounted on a stand, and for audio input, there's a small lav mic mounted on my collar. Hello. Doesn't this shot look great? But enough of me, let's go to Brianna.
My name is Brianna Spaz, and I've lived in Philadelphia my whole life. The Youth Employment Program is funded by a grant from the Lenfest Foundation, CPB, and the Hive at Spring Point. And we're able to offer students paid work experiences and a technology kit that they leave with at the end of the summer. Students who go through our Media Labs program and classes here at the studio are able to apply, and we ask them all about their interests and strengths and growths and weaknesses and what do they want to learn from us, and we really use that to shape the program.
My name is Sydney Battle. I'm the program officer at the Hive at Spring Point Partners. Yes, we're happy to be able to support programs like this and have collaborative partnerships with programs like this, like WHYY. And we really look to these programs to kind of be our pulse and our ear of what's going on and what young people need in particular and what organizations need. And so we're thankful very much for this partnership that we're able to have together.
My name is Anthony, and a lot of people call me Tony. I think the confidence that we instill in youth in this program, it goes a long way, and the work speaks for itself. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, the work doesn't lie.
WHYY. It's all the talk around here.
WHYY?
WHYY.
Yeah, WHYY, I would say.
WHYY.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, WHYY.
WHYY.
Yeah, WHYY.
The Youth Employment Program is my favorite part of my job. You know, it's a 7-week program that happens in the middle of the summer, and I work here all year round. And I really mean that because it's so cool to have so many people come together. Everybody's coming from diverse backgrounds with skill sets and experiences that they're bringing to the table, and watching students collaborate and produce really high quality work that our newsroom is able to publish. And someone watching it might have never thought, wow, a young person did this. A 16-year-old helped on this Emmy Award winning film, right?
And it's been amazing. And I'm just excited to start this year probably doing a lot more freelance projects with them and go on to the next year, hopefully again in this program, and do more amazing things.
So all in all, I don't think it needs any more explaining to say that this is a very beneficial program. And all these amazing opportunities and experiences that I've had are all thanks to the generous people that funded this program. And you're hearing it from me today, but soon enough, you'll be hearing it from the funder's mouth.
Standing here together united to say that investing in our city is about investing in our children and in our communities and in ourselves. That is the bottom line.
Libraries in Philly are facing various problems such as shortened hours, lack of staffing, building maintenance issues, and even promoting the library to get people to visit. But where do most of these issues come from? A lack of funding.
Well, for sure, the library need more funding.
And we are absolutely not funded sufficiently.
They may only give $10 million. Even with that little bit, this is what we're getting done with this. This is what we can do with more.
We just don't have the money for 6-day service.
So, if Philadelphians want funding for the libraries, where is it? And how do we obtain it for the library branches?
Through the budget process in this council, gave us another about $13.5 million in our budget, which is a significant increase in our budget. It's huge. The money that we needed in order to provide the level of service that's necessary to have stable library service, we have it now.
But some people say that this increase is still not enough. For example, Councilmember Helen Jim says she wants the budget to be enough for 6-day service at the very least.
We are investing in the future of the city of Philadelphia.
This all sounds great, of course, but there are some hidden issues with expectations of 6-day service.
Staffing is always an issue. I'm the only librarian here.
The citizens of Philadelphia want that level of service. It's not going to come for free.
I want over 7, right? But we got to get to 5 days first, and then we'll get to 6, and then we'll get to 7.
Not only is the budget missing, but there's another factor to consider as well: the hiring process for more staff.
We can't do it. Don't have enough bodies to cover the shifts. Right. People are tired. People have their own health, their own families to look after. The only way we can meet those expectations is to restaff, replenish our workforce. We can't do it without more resources. We need the taxpayers to pony up, honestly.
We've got to bring on about 300 people. That's going to be a very heavy lift for our staff. So we got to bring them up to speed. At the same time, we're open. If you follow me, we're going to have more people, but they're learning the job. And then once they get up to speed, then the branches will really be clicking and providing the level of service that people want.
Which begs the question, what does a fully funded library look like?
Like an increased budget, like I was talking about the school visits and stuff. Teen librarians are able to have like a better relationship with the local kids, feel like they have a voice and they have a place that they can go to where they're actually respected.
I understand that the programming budget will increase. We can hire, storytellers or puppeteers and things like that for children.
Having like a story time where there's a bunch of kids together doing sensory play and reading a book and then doing some activity related to it, and they're all around other kids and stuff. That's also something that you're never going to get effects of that.
Cocomelon cannot compare to that story time in the library.
The library is like the people's university. You can go and educate yourself and do very well in life through your library. Now, we want you to go to college, we want you to go to school, but the same information you get there, you can get in your local library.
I do feel like a lot of the members of the community that need us aren't people that necessarily come into the library. And so we need to be able to go out there and go to them. So that's something that we can't really do when we barely keeping the libraries open with the amount of staff here, so we can't leave.
While the Free Library of Philadelphia has been doing everything in their power to keep these libraries running, the lack of funding and staff has been a hindrance and has kept things from progressing. Hopefully, Philly gets to a place where the libraries are open for 7 days a week, with everyone in the community visiting and using the resources that are offered. But for now, let's move forward one step at a time.
My name is Damon Williams. I'm entering my freshman year of college, and this is going to be my third year of doing the internship. And I got assigned with the Post, and I'm excited to do it. Yeah, I think I've never really cared so much of audio, because that podcast, obviously, I think everybody knows that. But I never really focused so much on audio, and I think podcast is heavily on listening than visual, which I'm really intrigued by. I think I've always been a visual person, so stepping out my shell and doing something different, really fun. I'm excited for. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. It might be terrible, but right now I'm excited for. And yeah.
Some of that. If it's funny, I smile. If it's sad, I try to think about the sadness of that moment.
We did a PD for the voice acting, and there are bones in our ears that affect the way that we listen to ourselves. So the way we sound to ourselves are different from what we sound to other people, which I thought was interesting. I never knew that. I learned a lot this year, and the years prior too. I feel like the last 2 years, it was definitely me getting my foot in the door of how to make a video and, how to make a good one, I feel like now, this year, I'm really getting to the nitty gritty of each and every little thing. I feel like now, I'm better at audio, and I feel like I know how to talk to people more in a way where it's a little more compelling than it was before the summer. I want to shout out Gabriel. I feel like he's really helped us hone in on our skills even more now. And not only that, but he has to work on 2 other different programs and all big program. Not only that, but help actually run the whole thing. So he definitely was doing a lot this summer. I'm really proud that I got him, and all the mentors were amazing. I'm so glad that opportunity of feeling a warm and safe place there, which was amazing. And I'm gonna miss all the interns. I feel like we became definitely a family. I feel like this year was definitely different because we got a chance to be together. So we had opportunities to do stuff that we normally would have had. And I'm so grateful for. And yeah, I'm so grateful for WHYY for giving me and so many other kids the opportunity of doing this, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. Therapy is not only important for some people, but crucial. Reports show that Gen Z has a higher rate of depression and other mental health conditions. I spoke with Deja Williams, a college student and security guard, who currently is not in therapy. Not because they don't want to, but because she can't.
Since these organizations don't earn any type of profit for their owners, they rely heavily on donations and support. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many of these nonprofits face similar struggles with figuring out different ways to give back to and help their respective communities and provide services the way they would in pre-COVID times.
Dungeons & Dragons is fairly simple to play. First, you have the players, who each create their own unique characters. And you also have the Dungeon Master, which I'll let Jay, who is currently a DM for their party, explain.
The Dungeon Master is responsible for creating the entire world outside of those player characters. So everything from narrating the environment to playing the non-player characters, enemies, monsters.
How do we expect this generation to succeed if they don't have the right resources to do so?
I don't think that it's expensive for someone who's trying to make a living for themselves, but then it's expensive for me to have to pay that entire hourly rate. People usually go to a doctor once a year, so spending $100 once a year is very different than spending $250 a week.
Here's how we can be supportive to you now with technology.
And in the end, really, a lot of positive impact and things occurred, and the changes that these nonprofits underwent kind of helped them grow and develop and led to better ways to give back to their communities.
Ultimately, the thing that brings new people in all the time is the community, the imagination, and the fun that comes with creating new characters to goof off with your friends. Despite all the hardship brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, it allowed Dungeons & Dragons to become more accessible to more people than it had before. Patrick Baker-Evans reporting. Thank you for listening. As teenagers, burnout is something that many of us have felt at some point, whether it's at school or in an after-school job. Eventually we feel that there's a point where we have no energy, and we struggle to motivate ourselves to do the work that we have to do to get through the day.
No, you're definitely right about that. I feel I don't know a single person who hasn't gone through burnout. One thing I've noticed about burnout and stress that people think is similar in a way, but I feel they do definitely have some key differences. And I was talking to my friend Serenity about it.
The difference between burned out and stressed, or what I believe the difference to be, is that I feel when you're stressed, you're under a lot of pressure, but you still can keep going, I feel you can kind of push past it and get what you need to get done, depending on the person, of course. But me personally, when I'm stressed, I feel I can push through it, and I can kind of convince myself that I'm okay, and then be okay, because I feel you can overcome being stressed. However, I feel being burnt out, it's kind of you just can't anymore. You just you're gone. You just want to go home and go to sleep. You just don't want to be awake. You're exhausted beyond comprehension, beyond belief, and you just can't power through it,
Yeah, and there's been times where I couldn't really tell if I was stressed or just burnt out. Sometimes being burnt out can fuel my stress, and because I can't think of ideas for
My friend Raymo told me about what she does to combat feeling burnt out.
I think that what I did was kind of create a support system with my friends, in that I could lean on them. We would sometimes call or do a Zoom call and work together, which really motivated me to keep studying because I wasn't by myself. My focus was better when I was with my friends. And also asking for extensions at the end of the year, just talking to my teachers and explaining to them how I'm feeling was really helpful, because they did give me extensions when I needed them.
Definitely. I think that can be super helpful. And also I think taking an active approach to the problem and just working to figure out things that help you feel better, like taking breaks or setting boundaries for yourself, can really make a difference when it comes to getting over burnout. we should also acknowledge that sometimes you can't really set those boundaries, especially in school where the teachers have the final say on the time you have to work on a project. It's an environment that we students have very little control in, and while these strategies I mentioned can temporarily help with putting off that burnout, they don't really cut down the ultimate source of that burnout.
Yeah.
And as our society is talking about burnout more and more, we should take this more systemic view of how burnout happens into account as we look for ways to deal with it moving forward.
Our environment is ever-changing, and with climate change becoming more and more prominent in our lives, artists and youth are doing something about it. Miguel Horn, a Philadelphia-based artist, is working together with the Independent Seaport Museum and TTF Watershed to create and install animal-themed art benches to accompany 6 watershed animal sculptures in Juniata Park for the River Alive Learning Trail, a part of the River Alive exhibition in the museum. They are involving the community, with Executive Director Greg Lynch and the students of the Youth Volunteer Corps of Philadelphia, helping build the paint-by-number style benches.
It's been a really interesting process because usually in the studio I'm either working with a team or by myself on production, but it's really nice to be working on this kind of design development of these benches and having the input from a whole bunch of different students and just receiving a lot of new different ideas while developing the design.
In terms of the whole project, I really liked the fact that Miguel let us try our hand at designing things. He showed us his design software, and we worked with different mediums like clay and foam, and we got to give our input. He's the artist, but he let us have our voices heard in what we thought would be good. So I thought that was really cool.
The project, meant for youth ages 3 to 6, is to help families and children connect to their environment, sparking questions about water, rain, how it affects the neighborhood and creek, and the animals that live within the watershed. This makes the children interested in continuing to walk along the learning trail with their families.
Now, these animals are all kind of posed in a way that are intended for children to engage with them. They're intended to pour water over the sculpture and see how it casts down onto the base and around it. So all of the poses are standing in a body of water, or drinking some water, or perched out of the water.
With heavy community involvement from its conception, Miguel, Greg, and the youth of YVC all have hopes that this will affect the communities positively, from learning from and about their environment to even designing the sculptures.
It definitely has the possibility, considering that it does a little bit of advocacy in the way they're shaped, both that not only the benches, but there's some animals as well. So it gets people thinking about animals and how they integrate into our ecosystems and our relationship with them as humans. So that connection, as well as what I said about the waterways, getting us to think about water pollutions and different environmental issues like that.
I think this has been a really great opportunity. Again, we try to combine the service learning element with the service itself. And so the cool thing about this River Alive project is that the students are kind of examining our local rivers, waterways, watersheds, the impact that human activity has on them, what wildlife is here, has been here in the past, are we trying to bring back. And so, having kind of that knowledge base makes it more than just helping to, build a bench or put something together. Why you're doing it, what it's for, what's the overall goal and impact. And I think that has been a really exceptional part of this project for our young people.
It's been a really fun project to work on. As I said, really excited to create something that is intended for a young audience and their caretakers, and to be thinking about how, again, they'll be engaging, how young children would be affected by the pieces. And the bench project, the design development project with YVC was really inspiring. It was also, I think really engaging for a lot of the participants. It's really exciting to see what we've come up with, and I really hope that the community appreciates it as well.
I learned about Motivos when I used to go to other organizations, and I used to see the magazine laying around on their tables, on the resource tables. And I got curious, and one time I picked up one of the magazines and I looked at it, and I thought it was really cool that there were like students writing or youth writing about things that were affecting them and things that they were dreaming about.
Featuring my art and my story and how I overcame certain things in order to sort of master it, basically. It gave me more options in the real world to do more than just drawing and painting. Recently, when Janae suggested that I started teaching, and I know she's not the only one, I took that offer into consideration, and then this year, I finally acted on that decision. And
it helped me back then, like the way that it helps me now, and I recognize it's like I want my siblings to get involved in Motivos, you know? I recognize the value that it has, not just for myself, but societally. Like, things like this don't really exist for youth in general, and especially not for Hispanic youth, right? Like, the fact that it's a bilingual magazine is incredibly important.
To the young people, especially in that situation, to say, you got this, you can make it. And that goes not just for students who may be getting their paperwork together, but students in traditionally excluded communities, urban communities, rural communities, students who teachers have turned their back on for whatever behavioral issue they may have or how they haven't performed at their peak yet, right? To saying, what is your strength? Let's find it out. Let's polish it a little bit, and hopefully helping students see something in themselves they may not have seen yet. Expanding the scope of what they think their future could hold. It really amplifies youth's voice while connecting them with those resources and role models and access to scholarships, to college, to career opportunities.
In an activity somewhere, I thought she was full of energy and full of ideas, and I thought she was doing a great job helping, you know, youth in the community.
From 2014 to 2022, that makes it 8 years that I've been with Motivos.
My mom introduced me to Motivos because she had worked with Janae in the past, and when I got there, I guess when I talked to her and I saw the magazine and everything, I realized that it was exactly where I needed to be, because I needed to start preparing for college. I needed to really start and like dig into my professional development, and Motivos just provided all of that and just like in spades, and was like this amazing like homey supporting atmosphere.
Motivos is important because it breaks down that barrier, it opens that door, it reaches across the threshold and says, you belong, and pulls you in. And they have to leave for whatever commitments, or they leave and then they reach back to come back, and the door is always open. So it's important for students to know that they've got a consistent place, consistent people that have their back, that care, that are going to be there.
I think it's a wonderful magazine. There's nothing around that is bilingual. There's like no magazine that features Latinos in it and their experiences, and I think it's great. It motivates kids, it motivates students to do something else than just, you know, staying in the neighborhood and just going to work after high school.
Nowadays, I never feel nervous of painting in front of people, because I always do what I love, and if other people like what they see and they feel inspired, then why should I stop? You know, why should I give up?
No matter what I do, no matter what career path I'm in, no matter what I'm pursuing, the core principles that I learned at Motivos, even like outside of just journalism, really have propelled me and like helped me separate me from the pack in like everything that I do, right? Like just like the general stuff, like even basic stuff like making eye contact, organizing interviews, time management, writing, editing your own work, all of that is extremely applicable across every career field that I've like done. And right now, I guess as a professional filmmaker, it's really just like helped like kind of like cement my workflow, get things done efficiently, work with a high turnover rate. You know, being able to do everything that I do and doing it like as best as possible.
The mission with Motivos is really to promote self-expression, college and career exploration, and cultural and community engagement. We give students opportunities to do that either through reading the print and digital versions of the magazine, to be in touch with near peers who are doing something just ahead of them on life's path, and to get inspired by their peers. And we also do it through our weekly media mentorship program that is on Zoom, so any student can participate, and we do in-person team retreats. And so that is the other way that we encourage the students. When they meet in person and through Zoom, they're getting writing coaching, they're getting coached on how to interview, how to edit, the design side, the photography side, so they really see how a production comes together.
Philadelphia is in a state of crisis. 2021 saw a record number of homicides, with 2022 following a similar pattern. Shootings have been on the rise since last year. As of July 18, 2022, there have been 1,045 non-fatal and 272 fatal shooting victims. With increasing violence, some community members are calling for increased security measures, such as calling in the Pennsylvania National Guard to try to quell the gun violence in the city. POC, a partner with WHYY's News and Information Community Exchange, spoke with Philadelphians to hear their thoughts about bringing in the National Guard to prevent gun violence.
With all the gun violence going on in the city of Philadelphia, many are suggesting that we actually call in the National Guard. If they come through, do you feel like you're going to be safe?
I feel like the National Guard should have been here yesterday. I think that it would be a great idea to have the National Guards come in and help the city so that they can get back to normalcy, if that's what they call it. The 4th of July, which was a beautiful show, which was spoiled. You can't take your children anywhere. We need help now.
This needs to be handled by a local jurisdiction, if possible. The National Guard is trained in a whole different way to secure a town, and I do not want that right now. They might lead to something more.
Bringing in the National Guard around gun violence can create more disparities for communities of color than the support and assistance that people believe that it may bring in. The role of the National Guard is not to protect and serve in the same way that our police officers are, or even state troopers could be.
City leaders such as Mayor Jim Kenney have not been as receptive to the solution.
Pennsylvania Guard is not approved to patrol or make arrests. We use them in the time of civil unrest in order to guard property.
Following the June 4th mass shooting on South Street, Kenney put the blame on guns, saying that with around 70 police officers in the area of the shooting, the city shouldn't be focused on policing, but rather the focus should be on getting guns off the street.
You know, it's got to start somewhere. You know, I believe the citizens of Philadelphia need to come together as a whole and do something, not just talk about it. So, you know, as far as bringing National Guard in, I'm not above it.
National Guard is usually called in to assist with state-level emergencies such as natural disasters, but also during times of civil unrest such as the summer of 2020. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf ordered the National Guard to Philadelphia in October of 2020, following a night of riots that occurred after the police murdered 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr.
The National Guard cannot really investigate crime. They can't really lock people up. So do you really think that that will help? You know, what do you think they can do to actually come in?
I mean, I believe the National Guards, when they come in, they're going to put the city on lockdown, and it's going to be curfew, and then, you know, life as the citizens of Philadelphia know it now is going to get even worse. It's going to get tougher. I mean,
their presence by itself speaks. They came and they were stationed in our area, and they were like parked in the parking lot at Fox ShopRite. And just them being there brought a different atmosphere of we're not coming here with the foolishness.
So citizens, we need to step up and take care of each other, regardless of age, regardless of anything like that. We got to be there for each other, and at this time, more than anything.
Many residents believe that their presence will make an immense difference in the city's gun violence crisis.
Their appearance will stop a lot of things. Just knowing that somebody is there with authority a lot of times makes a person think twice. So yes, we need them.
Other preventative measures that the city has employed are a new curfew where teens ages 14 to 17 must be home by 10 p.m. and kids 13 and younger must be home by 9:30. And a new 24/7 gun violence prevention hotline which residents can call to talk to responders who have received 80 hours of training in trauma-informed care, cultural competency, and mental health first aid.
You heard it. The people have spoken. I want to hear what you think. Hit us up, WHYY News, or drop your comments below.
I'm Zora Ball for WHYY.
That deadly violence comes on the heels of more bloodshed in the city this weekend. There have been at least 20 victims since Friday night across Philadelphia. 4 of them have died. Action News.
As a Philadelphia native and student, living within an urban city creates a unique perspective on life. As gun violence grows throughout the city of Philadelphia, students begin to fear whether they are the next victims. It is important for schools to have open and meaningful discussions on gun violence. As students and parents, fear raises as time continues. As gun violence grows rapidly throughout the city, more and more teens are affected by this issue. The repercussion it has had on my school has been unfortunately anything but rare. Roman Catholic High School has been the receiver of much violence these past years. The introduction of the pandemic and lockdown opened the doors for much violence within Philadelphia. In 2020, I was a sophomore, as I watched the news of Aiden Seddon, a senior who was caught within a drive-by while going to the gym. This random act of violence shocked my school community, and unity essentially failed due to COVID. A story that was repeated within my junior year, Mekhi Lewis, who graduated in 2021, was shot 19 times while going to the store. This image of Roman Catholic, although issues out of their reach, are not only negative, but harmful. Daily routines of working out and getting food become dangerous for students of any school and leaves a fear for parents. While searching up Roman Catholic students, you will be met with articles of these victims and aggressors, a case of a student murdering his ex-girlfriend, and many social media videos of fights within the school are linked to the image of Roman. It's extremely vital for all schools to have open discussions on gun violence to keep students safe and aware of the issues within their neighborhoods. As I enter senior year, exposed to the violence my school has endured and released, I'm truly curious about its future, praying that change will ensue.
I decided doing this program because I like filming.
I joined this program because it was presented to me by my dad. He said it's something for you to do this summer instead of not doing anything.
So basically learn how to hook up cameras, and I also wanted to learn how to get better at editing and learn how to do the things the YouTubers knew how to do.
Learn how to deal with cameras, record, B-rolls, all that, different angle shots. It's pretty cool.
What has something you've learned about gun violence and gun prevention throughout this time?
I learned there's a lot of different ways to handle it. There's a lot of different ways to help,
The youth media program based at Parkway Northwest High School encourages students to become the interviewer and interviewee while unraveling the trauma of gun violence. As students learn media production, they relive their stories of gun violence.
It can affect people in different types of ways, and it can make them feel very unsafe.
People, you can go I say join clubs or do something fun, occupy yourself instead of concern yourself with the streets and different.
It impacted my life very strongly because I was actually about to go against somebody with a gun.
I got shot when I was 16. Wrong place, wrong time. Got caught in the crossfire. It wasn't nothing crazy though. Just being there, going through that, it was a life or death type thing. I didn't know if it was gonna be. I didn't know if I was gonna make it out or not. But I'm here, so I'm blessed.
In my experience, not too long ago, my cousin was killed. So that's a big experience for me because he was killed. He was shot in the head and shot in the chest. So that's a big deal, especially with my family because we took it hard. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. It's been a while since I saw him, to be honest. But he was funny. I'll say, like, he was loved. Like, his family missed him, his daughter missed him. Like, he was loved and all that. So.
Shamika Sawyer, filmmaker and founder of the media program, leads discussions from how to use a camera to the desensitization of gun violence.
Since that incident, has that affected the way you act now?
No. I kind of put that memory behind.
I'm Shamika Sawyer, and I am from Germantown. What I do for work is I'm a filmmaker, and I do video productions for like organizations and entrepreneurs. And my role in this program is I founded this program. I started it. It's all my idea. So the name of the program is About Mine, I Matter Youth Video Production Program. I started this program because in 2020 I lost my brother to gun violence, and then almost a year to the day of him passing, my nephew, his son, was shot also. If he was still here, I would just love to tell him how amazing he is as himself. It's important because basically I was directly impacted by it. And I think at times in society, we don't really feel the weight of the problem if you don't experience it. We really have to figure out how these guns are getting into our communities and then actually do something about the guns getting into our communities and not leaving it up to a law to fix things. A law is just words on a paper.
We gotta get guns off the street for that's all it is. Like, it's just too, like, the access to guns is just too easy.
Cause from what I hear, how easy it is to get guns in different places. I think that they should make it harder for people to get guns, especially children.
How would you demand change or change the issues we face in Philly?
By taking up people's time so they have something else to do instead of being out on the streets. Like this program and other programs, there should be more programs in different places.
As Ms. Sawyer and her students continue to learn about the necessary requirements of a documentary, they are demanding a safer Philadelphia. The program has been offering group counseling, gun prevention awareness, and the perspective of others in order to build a conclusion to ending gun violence. Parkway Northwest High School houses a light for change and creativity amongst our youth.
Hi, my name is Leah Kent. I'm 17 years old and I'm working with the WHYY Youth Employment program. Today I will be sharing a story about something that involves gun violence that happened around me. A guy had got shot right around the corner from my house in my neighborhood. I live in Germantown near Stoughton, and unfortunately I'm aware of the crime rates around us. So this story happened 2 years ago, and it was the fall time. During this time, I was home alone by myself while my mom was over my aunt's with my sister. While I was home alone, I was chilling on my phone, relaxing, until I heard a gunshot. And then I heard another one. Unfortunately, especially with the neighborhood I'm in, this is normalized for me, so I really didn't think too much about it. That was until I heard this horrifying scream, and I didn't know where the gunshot came from, or I didn't even know that the gunshot had came from our neighborhood. So I was unaware around the situation that was happening. That was until I heard a horrifying scream and I saw police sirens. I didn't know what was going on until I had got a message from my mom that somebody has got shot near our house. And to think about it, as a 17-year-old, I didn't feel comfortable at all in my own house. Like, knowing that there was an active shooter around made me feel really unsafe in my own house. So hearing those screams really made me scared to be like, it made me feel really unsafe around the time. So unfortunately I didn't get any sleep that night. But to make it up, my mom had took me and my sister to a farm the next day. My mom wanted me to calm all my nerves after the whole situation. And she just wanted me to enjoy myself. And especially as a 17-year-old who's getting ready to go off to college, I want to enjoy myself. I want everyone to enjoy themselves and keep themselves safe around anything. Keep themselves safe around any harm that's around them. So trust your gut and please be aware of your surroundings. Enjoy your life, honestly, because you'll never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, you could be alive today, but tomorrow you'll never know. So if you want to do something, if you're interested in doing something, do it, because you'll never know with the amount of time you have left. I never knew that guy, nor did I knew the house around me, but being a child in a neighborhood, especially in like a neighborhood that I grew up in, it kind of hurts knowing that we lost someone who was in the neighborhood. So please enjoy your life, because not everyone can have the opportunities and the advantages you have, especially since it's really dangerous around here. Thank you.
I'm Noel Chaco, an intern at the WHYY Pathways to Media Careers Youth Employment Project, and I work with News and Information Community Exchange. This summer, I worked on 2 video news pieces. The first was about gun violence in Philadelphia and if the National Guard should be called in to help the city, and another about a new program by the Philadelphia Parking Authority to prevent illegally parked cars in city bike lanes. I learned a lot this summer about both these topics and grew as a professional. Working with Zora, Dre, Lamar, and Tony was a pleasure. We were able to build off each other's strengths and work on new skills. Something this summer that I improved upon was my voice acting skills. With the help of Chris Norris, and after attending a professional development with Mike and Scott, I was able to improve my voiceover to add more emphasis to words, slow down my speech, and make it easier for listeners to follow along. Learning so closely from industry professionals has helped me immensely with my media skills. And for any youth in the city, this program is an invaluable experience.
The issuer of parking tickets in the city is the Philadelphia Parking Authority, or the PPA for short. City residents at one point or another have most likely seen a ticket being issued either for someone else's car or, unfortunately, their own. The PPA recently announced their new Bike Patrol initiative to increase enforcement of ticketing illegally parked vehicles in bike lanes. There will now be 8 new bike lane enforcement officers whose focus will be on ensuring bike lane regulations are followed. Specifically, the PPA states these officers will patrol and issue tickets for any illegally parked vehicles that block bike lanes in Center City, University City, and South Philadelphia starting in the fall of 2022.
I think with the steps that the city are taking are great steps, but I think there also just needs to be more space for bicyclists to travel, because the easier it is to bike, the less cars are going to be on the streets because more people feel safe biking.
I don't think it's going to cut down on it, to be honest with you. I mean, because you'll still have people parking in the bike lanes. I mean, the ones who get a ticket probably won't, but it'll still be an issue.
Since 2011, there have been 41 cyclist deaths and over 135 injuries. The Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia has been working to reduce the number and severity of traffic crashes that occur in Philadelphia each year.
Police are on bikes, fire medics are on bikes. We always thought it would be great for PPA enforcement officers to use a bicycle to get around, just much more efficient. And so the Parking Authority is going to put 8 officers on bikes to patrol bike lanes. It's a start, so we hope it's successful, and we hope that the Parking Authority feels empowered to put more officers on bikes for other purposes.
Since 2014, the PPA says it has issued over 25,700 bike lane violations. These 8 new officers will allow for greater enforcement of the regulations. Fines for blocking bike lanes in Center City carry a $76 penalty. While beneficial for bikers, these changes can be difficult for delivery drivers. One driver we spoke to said that there often isn't enough space to park in residential neighborhoods, making it hard to carry out deliveries. The side of the street with the bike lane is usually the only place where they can stop. Police officers who see drivers in the bike lane usually give them 15 to 20 minutes to load before they are told to relocate.
So the goal in the city is for us to obviously encourage more people to bike to work, bike everywhere, to leave their cars behind as we try to promote a healthier city, a greener city. So what we're trying to do is build the facilities so everybody feels safe biking through the city of Philadelphia.
Although these changes have not yet gone into effect, the continued efforts from both the city and community organizations signal safer roadways for all Philadelphians.
Just trying to hook up my mic. This is not centered. This is not even, and I'm backlit and you can see my mic. This is a bad video.
So here's the thing. I am terrified to make a video. Whew. Okay, I said it. I felt so uninspired and I felt like all of my ideas have been trash and terrible and not interesting or original at all. I think there's a lot of pressure out there to make the perfect video, the perfect piece, this perfect work of art. And in reality, you know, nothing we ever make is gonna be perfect. And all I wanna do is just make something that I'm proud of. When you wanna make a video, you're like, I don't know what to do, and you're not inspired. So I'm going to make a really bad video. A really, really, really bad video. So I'm gonna try a few tips that people say, you know, help you get into the creative process. And hopefully by the end, I won't hate picking up my camera.
So first step in getting inspired, taking a deep breath. There's no pressure, even though my camera is not in focus. Next, after a quick Google search, I learned that some people like to reconnect with nature to get the creativity flowing. So I decided, why not have a little picnic? But then I accidentally chewed the stem of my picnic. I also learned that there's nothing more powerful than a little H2O, especially after you choke on the stem of a grape. Listen, I even tried yoga. I was desperate for some inspiration. Of course, with exercise and me, that never lasts long. So I decided that a little nature walk is what I needed. And this right here is what we call an establishing shot. At least I got that part of the video right. Now this shot could have been better. I'm in the shadows for most of it, I'm backlit, but I was having a really good time. So good that I decided to turn up the Taylor Swift and have a little dance party in the middle of the park with everybody watching me. This is what I do for creativity. But somehow by the end of it, I stopped thinking about getting inspired, and I started just taking in what was around me. They're like these bunnies. Happy Easter! When I left the park, I was so excited to get home and edit all the footage. Somehow, when I took the pressure off myself to make the perfect video, I got inspired to just have fun.
Hi, my name's Jacob Swollen, and this summer I worked at Billy Penn through the WHYY Youth Employment program. This summer I had the great opportunity to work with Danya and the rest of the Billy Penn team, who are all really incredibly talented, and I feel like I learned a lot just from being around them and seeing how they worked. We got to go to weekly meetings with Billy Penn and just see how their pitch meetings went and how they kind of talked about ideas. So that was really, it was really great to be able to see that in action. For our main project this summer, me and Trinity and Tiffany, the other interns at Billy Penn, worked on a story and an article about the Vine Street Expressway and how it's bisected the Chinatown community for several decades now. And I thought what was really amazing about the project was that Billy Penn and Danya definitely didn't shortchange us when it came to the topic, because it's something that's so meaty, has so many different angles, and I think is really relevant and important today. And so to be able to work on that at an internship has been really great because I'm not sure elsewhere I would have had the opportunity to work on something that I think so many people will find important and will want to read. So that was really great. And then for our second project, we got to pitch our own ideas, which I think is always fantastic because it gives you an opportunity to kind of formulate and then advocate for your own ideas, which is important in any workplace setting. So for that project, I decided to work on an article and hopefully a social media story about the Philadelphia's newsstands. And that's something that I'm really excited about because I feel like I've always been fascinated by the local kind of street vendor ecosystem. And it's been really cool to talk to people in those stands and get those stories because I feel like those stories aren't told very often. That's a story that I think, 4 years ago or 5 years ago when I was starting to write and do videos, I'm not sure I could have done. And so it felt really satisfying to go out there and have the confidence to talk to people and ask more personal questions and then go back and write a very detailed oriented story. So it was great to see that progress over the last few years. And so I'd like to say thank you to Danya, to Sunny, my mentor, and the rest of the Billy Penn team, Tiffany and Trinity, for making all of that possible.
This summer, I was a WHYY intern through their Media Labs program. I was working with WHYY's show You Wanna Know. I did 2 projects which I pitched myself. One was about the importance of youth voting, and another highlighted a clay studio in West Philly. Through these projects, I learned a lot about video making, including everything from framing shots to editing techniques. I also learned a whole bunch about the video subjects, and I made lasting friendships. I recently moved to Philly from a semi-rural area, and I've been awestruck by the amount of opportunities here. Because of my background, I taught myself most of the things I know. So I want to take advantage of these new opportunities to branch out even more and acquire more skills and friendships. I always thought that I wouldn't be able to get my work out there, but through this program, my skills have been appreciated and expanded upon. My projects will even end up being displayed on a TV show. I've learned that my work is important enough to be shared and appreciated. Overall, this internship was a lot of fun, and it gave me experience in a realistic journalist situation. It was wonderful to go out and film projects that I pitched and I wanted to do. I loved interacting with the people we were interviewing and getting an in-depth look into their organizations and businesses. I also got to sit in during You Oughta Know filming and get an exclusive look into how TV shows were made, which is a really valuable experience for me. All of the skills I acquired through this program have made me a more responsible filmmaker and made me more confident in my work. I'm very proud of the projects I completed over this summer.
Everyone knows more. I'm too young to make change. I don't know enough. Everyone knows more. I'm too young to make change. Educate others. Educate others. Educate others. Educate others. Your voice is change. Your voice is change. Your voice is change.
Youth political power is, to me, really understanding the impact their voice can have. My name is Angelique Hinton, and I am the Executive Director of PA Youth Vote. Voting can be very complicated and overwhelming, so especially for young people, there's a lot of barriers. So PA Youth Vote works with young people year-round to engage them.
Basically, our role is just to represent students and to talk about the issues that we care about, and to be there to advocate for students.
We then also work with students year-round to build voter registration teams in school, but then we pay students stipends to work along with the teachers, right? Understand which students are eligible, make sure they're registered, and make sure they have resources when they ask those questions about, well, where do I vote, or how do I find out who's running? The voting process for someone who doesn't really know anything about it is completely overwhelming.
One of the biggest barriers is just a lack of knowledge that you can be involved. You don't see a lot of policies and curriculums that center around civic engagement and getting involved with your community.
So for a lot of young people feel like it's not anything that they need to engage in because no one's engaging them.
In the beginning of the summer, we started to work with Just Act.
which is an applied theater nonprofit that works with non-actors using arts-based to catalyze dialogue and action planning for real change.
We did a play called How's Your Voice Gonna Matter If You Don't Vote?
Which they performed on the steps of the Philadelphia School District.
Creating theater based off of the issues that we face really allows us an outlet to talk about issues that we care about, while also being creative and inviting other people into our space.
Having the ability to really let ourselves be heard with that makes it more equitable in a sense, because there is, more of a chance that things that will benefit younger people will be carried on into whatever legislation or court decisions might be enacted. What's the point of not letting your voice be heard? How will you expect things to go your way if you're apathetic to things and just let them be the way they are and stay that way?
Voting can be intimidating, but once it put in a digestible form, it's so empowering because one vote makes a huge difference.
You'll learn how to do art in like various ways. You'll be exposed to a bunch of different mediums, like whether it's like, video game creation, dancing, making stuff out of like recycled materials, photography. We do have like street artists that do stuff like that, but we also go into museums. We, see the formal spaces, learn a little bit about the masters, the classical masters of art. Art doesn't always happen in the ways that you think it does, but it's still art nonetheless. And I think that's what I'm most proud of, in this show.
Hello, my name is Nanda, and this summer I was a WHYY intern with the Grants Department. As a first-time student this year, I didn't really know what to expect coming into it. I participated in multiple journalism, narrative, and podcasting camps before. However, I immediately recognized that this was going to be something completely different. This was an environment where fellow interns and I were going to be able to express our creativity and produce videos in a workplace-like atmosphere. As this internship is coming to an end, I have 3 major takeaways from this program as a whole. Firstly, I can now understand the importance of youth voice in media. It is not just the big media houses that should control the news. Youth should and can help in communicating issues to the world while also voicing their unique opinion. As a youth, we are used to the quick and short nature of social media videos. However, I learned that in-depth coverage of prominent issues such as gun violence from a young person's perspective is essential to any type of society. Secondly, I learned the concept of a workplace environment where there are actual deadlines and projects that as a team we have to deliver. This is entirely new for me and something that is going to be extremely useful later in my career and just life in general, because there are going to be standards and expectations that I'll have to meet. Last, and definitely not least, were the communication skills that I was able to develop. During the summer, I met and interviewed so many amazing people with such interesting stories and unique backgrounds. I'm so grateful for this incredible opportunity and also for all the other interns and mentors I shared this summer with. There's no better way that I could have spent this summer, and I look forward to another year with the Pathways to Career program at WHYY. Thank you.
Albie's Elevator is a show for preschoolers about an unofficial self-appointed elevator operator who explores her big feelings with the help of her neighbors. Every episode, Albie is going through some new issue. She's dealing with a hard social or emotional problem, kind of the stuff of everyday life, our relationships with people and our own emotions. For Albie's Elevator, you can look forward to a completely original show that is social emotional learning through an arts lens. It is adventure, it is silliness, but it's also a lot of heart. It's a ton of feeling big feelings, being okay with it, and making some friends along the way.
What a small world! Hey!
My name is Yvette Sizer. I've been with WHYY approximately 5.5 years, and I've been with the street team since its inception. The WHYY street team is a group of employees that goes out into the community, and we talk about the great programming and events that we have at WHYY. And we interact with our stakeholders, our members, our viewers, our listeners, and we talk about not only the great programming, but the events that we have. And we get a chance to go into the community and spread the word about our great programming and other events that we have. Well, oftentimes we will take one of the WHYY vehicles, we'll take a table, we'll take a tablecloth, we'll take handouts such as our programming material and giveaways. For example, this lanyard, or we'll give away bracelets, keychains, and t-shirts. To be part of the street team, you have to, I think, starts with a knowledge and love of WHYY. You have to understand the programming and be familiar with our programming and be familiar with how important and integral WHYY is in the community. I think that's where it starts, because you're going to take that information and that zest for WHYY to your events and to the community. Because the street team represents WHYY and we are in the community, we don't always get people that come to our table with sunshine or something positive to say. Right now we live in a very politically charged environment and people have very strong opinions, and sometimes the street team table might be the place where community members feel they want to vent. But we have to remember, as street team members, we have to always protect the brand, and we have to be open to criticism and have a good exchange with our viewers and listeners, even if we don't both agree on a particular subject. It's just important to keep smiling and keeping that dialogue going and keeping it open. That's really important. We go into communities from North Philadelphia to Narberth, from Wayne to Warminster. It's meeting with people that help build our station and build our viewership and membership. And it's going into the community and talking to our listeners and viewers. One of the best events was the 4th of July festivities on the Parkway. And that was a great event because it was so many different people from so many different communities and cultures. We all got together and we talked about the WHYY programming, and we got to experience and meet new friends. Have fun. The events are great. It's an opportunity not only for us to talk about the great programming at WHYY and all the wonderful things that we're doing, but it's also a great opportunity to meet people in the community, and you have fun at these events.
The WHYY street team preparation begins in our closet. This is where we can find the items that we will use for our events, such as t-shirts, lanyards, keychains, and games. The promo closet is where we find all of our items for our events. We will also follow a checklist to ensure that we go out to our events with all the items we need. The street team closet is our home base, so let's keep it neat and organized. Once we finish loading our promo items on our hand truck, we make our way downstairs for the loading process. We make our way downstairs to what's called office services. Office services is where we can pick up the keys to the promotion vehicle. Once we sign out the vehicle we will be taking to the event, we must document the mileage of the car. Once we've acquired the key, we can begin the loading process. This is where we load our vehicle for our event in a neat and orderly fashion, making sure not to block rear view mirrors. Also, we do not want to put items in the front seat of the vehicle. While you're on the street team operating our vehicles, you need to not only adhere to all the driving laws, but you want to be extra careful. So the first thing we do when we arrive at an event is we check in with our contact person. That way we let them know that we're there. We also find out where we're going to set up, and we can get started. We want to make sure that it's neat, it's organized, and it's easy for people to come by and see the items on the table and also interact with people. Once the table has been set up, you can use your WHYY Street Team checklist to make sure that everything that is supposed to be on the table is on the table. As the event progresses, there will be times where we need to replenish the table. And we want to make sure when we replenish the table, we continue to keep it in a neat and orderly fashion. We want everyone, of course, to have a good time. Not only our WHYY Street Team members, but we also want the community that we're engaging with to have a good time. So we want it to be professional, we want it to be fun. We also want to leave the community and the people that we interact with a good impression of WHYY. Once the street team event begins to wind down, we break down the table. We put back the items that were not given out. We're going to reuse those in future events. We repack the items, taking off the tablecloth, taking down our signage, and we put everything back in the vehicle. Then we come back to the station, we unload the truck using the hand cart, taking all the items back to the promo closet. Making sure that we document the return mileage on the vehicle, also returning the key to office services. Once all of the promo items are back in the closet, we make sure to lock our closet and return the key to the street team leader's desk. Thank you for watching the WHYY Street Team Training video. We look forward to working with you as we represent WHYY and engage in the community.
Hello, my name is Emily Hildenbrand, and I'm an intern for WHYY's Youth Employment program. So this is my first year working at WHYY, and I'm absolutely loving it. I was partnered with their Media Labs program at St. Malachy Catholic School, where I'm teaching a group of about 15 middle schoolers. They were so much fun to be around, and I love getting to teach them what I know about media. For my first project, I taught a lesson on sequencing, where I got some wonderful feedback on my teaching skills.
I really like your speech because it reminded me like you're explaining one of your inventions on cartoon. I like your speech. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Outside of working at St. Malachy, I went down to WHYY every Wednesday for a workshop, which was really cool. I live pretty far outside of Philly, so I took the train for about an hour and walked from Jefferson Station over to WHYY. Being at WHYY was so much fun, and I feel like I genuinely got something out of the workshops we had. I also got the opportunity to host my own workshop on sequencing, where we did a project to practice a classic 5-shot sequence. Mine was all about how I can never seem to open the right door when I get there, based on real-life, extremely embarrassing events. Working at WHYY over the summer has been such a great opportunity, and I'm really grateful for the time that I've spent there. I've met so many amazing and talented people, and the quality of work that I've been producing has gone up so much from stuff that I've produced in the past, and I know that I have WHYY to thank for that. Not only do I get to keep all the equipment that they've given me, but I also have gotten so much good experience of what working in media professionally might be like for me in the future. Being part of this program was so much fun, and I really hope that I'm able to continue with it next summer. I also got a super cool sticker. My name is Emily Hildenbrand, and I'm an intern for WHYY's Youth Employment program. The program was founded in 2019 and pairs students with professional business partners. The goal of the program is to show young people what working in media might be like and to encourage them to follow that path in the future. I'm partnered with WHYY's Media Labs at St. Malachy Catholic School in North Philadelphia. Every Tuesday and Thursday, WHYY hosts an after-school program for the students interested in media production, which gives them the chance to work hands-on with different equipment. Media Labs are hosted in 40 different schools all throughout Philadelphia, South Jersey, and Delaware. Beginning this school year, St. Malachy began offering Media Labs to their students.
I think it's really cool that the kids get some real life application. Like they're not just, you know, they do a whole thing, start to finish, right? They plan it, they film it, then they are editing right now. I just think that's really cool.
So my favorite part of teaching definitely has to be that moment when the student actually gets the camera and understands like everything that we've been talking about. Because having them listen to one thing and then actually doing it are two separate things. And when they actually get the camera in their hands, it's like a light bulb goes off above their head, and it's great to watch it happen. I think the students definitely get excited to come in here and use the equipment. And then learning just so happens to be a part of what happens in here, because they don't like to sit down. They're more of an energetic group of kids, which is great, which means that they're actively like, okay, what else can we do? What else can we film? What else can we figure out to use the camera for? And then getting them to edit is another thing entirely. But at the end, when they see the product, they realize that the whole process has been a really cool thing.
My favorite, interviewing. Like, I like learning how to edit and stuff, interview, what to say properly and stuff. That's been my favorite lately.
I don't really use cameras a lot, and I had the chance to use them during Media Lab.
My take on Media Lab is that it's a good experience for kids that want to grow up to be photographers, journalists, and people that just get paid to edit videos for certain people.
The thing is that I have learned so many things to the point I want it to never end.
Yes, I will definitely continue. I will tell people about it, because I already tell my mom a lot about it and tell her what I learned. And she got this camera for me now because of Media Lab. So I gotta say thank you, because now I have a passion for editing and stuff now, and y'all taught me a lot.
I strongly will motivate anybody else to start media, and even if they feel as though they're not going to be good at it, I will strongly advise them to do it.
The project that I'm doing is Philly flavors. Basically we're talking about what we have in Philly. All the things that we've been doing was trying to see what is their favorite water ice and what they like in water ice. My role has been the person that asks the questions mostly.
Me and my friends, we all chose different parts. Emily sets up the camera. I also set up the camera and stuff. I got to use the headphones on the microphone, and we all switched around. We're editing the video. We're almost done.
I found my time at St. Malachy to be very rewarding. The students there are extremely excited to learn, passionate about media, and so very energetic. Thanks to Media Labs, the students were able to learn about different equipment and create a project that they were proud of. Working with them was so much fun, and I'm grateful for my time there.
Yo, you didn't let me, bro, you didn't let me have time to practice or nothing. Come on, what are you doing? You must be wondering why am I sitting in front of this school, with all these kids around and whatnot. Well, I'm here to take you through the experience, the daily life of each student in the Arthur Summer Camp.
Maya.
Dakota Johnson. Hi, my name is Tamir.
My name is Trent Henson.
My name is Nasil Johnson.
So my name is Daoud Brown.
Taylor.
This is the school's music room, where the kids will meet with the interns and the teachers on what they will be doing for the day and getting taught a lesson, whether it's the 5 W's, the rule of thirds, or the different stages of production, from pre-production to post-production, and many more.
A rolls and B rolls, I never knew about that before, and I also thought that a tripod was a camera.
This is the editing space in the music room, where they can practice on their editing skills and where they can edit all the footage they have gathered to create an assigned project that will be shown during the camp and at the showcase towards the end of the camp. Here is the Media Lab. This is a space where the kids get their equipment to start filming and most of all have a place to learn how to set up a production from lighting to camera angles, to do broadcasting for their projects, and to have a quiet space to do voiceovers.
I've learned to use like different technology in ways that I never knew.
The kids not only got B-roll footage for their individual projects, they also went out and conducted interviews to get the public's opinion on different topics for each kid's projects.
The thing that interests me about the students in this summer camp is that I have them doing news projects. We also go out into the public, get interviews around the neighborhood, and I think it's a good experience for them.
Even forgetting some of the foundational tips that we give them throughout the school year, you know, they have a camera eye, if you will. You know, they know how a shot should look, but they might be weaker on editing skills, or they might have they might not have social skills, and so just finding, seeing different skill sets, different personalities, and being like a director where you're kind of blending them all together.
This is the school's playground. After lunch, the kids get to go outside to have fun, relax, and de-stress from the hard work they put in, to be active and run around before they have to get back inside and create magic we call film. Oh, hi there again. Hopefully y'all had an experience watching this video. Stay safe, have fun, and I'll see y'all on the next one.
That 7 foot frame, wrapped so long his back. When he calls your name, it all fades to black. When he sees your dreams and fist on his screams, we don't talk about blue, no. We don't talk about food, no.
So you get your clay on the wheel and you begin the centering process. The next step would be to drill a hole into the center, and then from there you lift the walls and then you shape it.
We opened September 1st, 2016, and I just opened it because I felt there was a real need for affordable studio space in Philadelphia. Ceramics, like a lot of art fields, is structurally white, so a big part of our mission is to just try to break down those structural barriers. We do a lot of sliding scale, so somebody who has a higher income, who's more financially secure, would pay more, and then someone who has a lower income would pay less.
There's all of these different entry points into the clay community, and it ranges from people who take our one-day workshops. We have the more in-depth 8-week classes. Then we also have our memberships. It's really to provide people with a thorough educational experience pertaining to learning the potter's wheel. We don't want to have the tool making its way around with the piece. Same idea as when you're making...
A lot of people come because they want to learn a skill. Some people come because they're like on a date night and just need to get out. They want to be able to do something that's new and fresh and makes them think about things that they don't usually think about.
Black Hound found me, the first institution that gave me the opportunity to teach. It is extremely important for our brown-faced children to see another brown face creating so that they can have that connection. Because if it's all white folks going to teach our brown kids, the connection is not going to be there. So it is really important that as soon as you see my work, you immediately know that a brown face made it.
It's not just socializing, it's also sharing things and connections with people, because it's more just about creative avenues and a community space than it is just about ceramics.
That like ceramics and clay and art like saved my life. Like I don't think I would be here without them. So if I can do that for someone else, that's like honestly like the best Like, I don't want anything else out of my life, so, yeah.
So yeah, I just want the clay bug to bite everybody.
I'm back. That was so dumb. So dumb. So hello everyone. If you don't know me from the past 2 years, first year with the Pulse, second year with Mural Arts, my name is Gabby Rodriguez. Hopefully I did something with my name there to make it look cool. And this is my 3rd year in the program. And my first year with You Oughta Know. So you ought to know what I did this summer. So let's talk about You Oughta Know and my experience over the summer. First of all, being in person is a totally different experience. Since I did virtual the last 2 years and kind of being, you know, not really filming on the field, not really going out a lot, kind of just staying in my house, doing editing, all of that work, this was a whole 360. Going to weekly meetings, kind of being with my mentor and my partner in person, filming in person, doing a lot of extensive and complex work, filming work, all in person. And honestly, I enjoyed it. I made 2 videos that I was proud of. One about PA Youth Vote, which is a voting organization, and made great relationships and connections with the people there. But my most favorite one that I made was the second video about a clay studio that I had such a connection with. And I think that was the most important thing this year, the connections and the relationships I made. Because I never made those types of relationships or connections the past 2 years. Like, of course I did my networking and I enjoyed the people we were with and I talked to them and we had a good bond. But this year I really felt a bond with filming with these organizations, with filming with these people. I grew so close to my partner being with them all the time, kind of just joking with them all the time, editing, doing this whole process together. And that made this more special for me. Side note, the clay studio, amazing. I am someone who enjoys art, and honestly that was my favorite project that I did. And not only did I create such a good friendship with them and relationship with one of the Puerto Rican artists there, Nitsa, which I love, and she gave me a gift that honestly means the world to me. But they offered to pay for 8-week pottery classes for me because I wanted to continue ceramics and I wanted to continue going there and working there. And that honestly made this experience all the better.
So to sum it up, friendships and relationships I cultivated, amazing. The work that I created with my partner, amazing. And the summer overall, it was amazing. Hopefully y'all are ready to see me next summer.